Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I'm going to give my reading wrap up for the week of July 20th through July 26th. I didn't complete any books this week. I read parts of 5 books. I'll talk a little bit about those books. I'll talk about my reading plans for the upcoming week. Talk about a little bit about the videos I released this week. I'll talk about the crochet projects I worked on. I'll give a little medical update and probably a few other things about what's going on with me. I started 2 books this week. The first was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It is a story that talks about the time when women were first admitted to the astronaut pool. This is a story that goes back and forth in time. The first entry is from 1984. It goes back to 1977. It goes forward from there and then sometimes back too. About halfway through, a really good story. A lot of detail about the space program of that time. Impressive research by the author. Atmosphere is the July read for Booked and Busy at Fable Book Club, monitored by Jaime at Jaime Fock on here. The second book I started this week is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. But it's been many decades since I first read it. I probably read it in the 1980s. I think I was already an adult then, but not very much into adulthood. A little bit difficult at first. There's a lot of characters, but I'm about halfway through, at least the story part. There's some additional material because I have the 50th anniversary edition, but I'm really enjoying it. This despite the fact that I don't really agree very much what too many of the characters are doing, but quite an enjoyable read. Set in the late 60s in Oklahoma. I remember the first time I read this book that I was very surprised that there were actually gangs in Oklahoma. This is the July read for I'm with a Band, a Fable Book Club, monitored by MJ. Reading This Life at M-J on here. The third book I read some of this week is Everyday Crochet, The Complete Beginner's Guide by June Gilbank. I started working on another pattern in this book, and I'll talk about that when I talk about the crochet projects I worked on. The fourth book I read part of this week is Grimore Girl, Creating an Inheritance of Magic and Mischief by Halarie, Burton, Morgan. This is a large part of it memoir, some part of it some magical type thoughts. I recognize that some people might object to books that talk about magic, but I'm finding the book quite enjoyable and her life experiences are quite interesting. The fifth book I read part of this week is The Complete Tales of H.P. Lovecraft by H.P. Lovecraft. I've been reading that on and off for a while. Not because I'm not enjoying it at the part I'm in, but just that it's behind the other books I'm reading, so it's kind of a book that I fill in when I feel like reading something else. As far as my upcoming week, I plan to finish both Atmosphere and The Outsiders, and I hope to start Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. That is the July/August read for The Cozy Club, a Fable Book Club, monitored by Stephanie Bookish at Stephanie Bookish on here. Don't want to promise anything else, but maybe I'll get to something else too. We'll see. I released 4 videos this week. The first was my review of Picnic at Hanging Rock by Joan Lindsay. The second was reading wrap up for the week ending 7/19/2025. The third was Indie Author August. And the fourth was the quintessential summer book tag. So 4 videos is what I try to release in a week. I think last week I only got 3, but there were some recent weeks where I got 5. The videos I release now are mostly relatively short. It just makes it easier for me to record and edit them. And hopefully easier for people to view, because it doesn't take as long to view them. Next I want to talk about the crochet projects I worked on this week. The first one is the Young He Squid Game Wooble I completed. This Wooble this week, I think it came out pretty good. A project I started working on this week is bunting from Everyday Crochet, the Complete Beginner's Guide by June Gilbank. This is something that's decorative. These would need to be sewn together at the top, and then they could be hung in an area as a decoration. I did order 3 new colors of yarn, a jade green, bubblegum, and white. So my plans are probably to make one of these triangles with jade green and one in bubblegum, and then crochet them all together. Other than that, I watched a lot of booktube videos. I watched some WNBA games. I watched a little bit of professional wrestling. I walked at the local mall. I did some working out on a rowing machines that I have. I walked at the local high school. Went out to eat a few times. Met a friend of mine for a Thursday early lunch at a local restaurant, as we try to do every week. Now I want to give a little medical update, and I know not everybody likes medical updates. They think they're oversharing, or they just don't want to read them, and that's fine. So I will put text in the bottom of the screen that says medical update, and when I'm done I will remove that text. There's not really going to be anything beyond that though, just my outro, so if you're not interested in the medical update, you've seen everything else. Early in June I had a dermatologist look at a rough area a little behind my right eye, and she determined that a biopsy should be taken. The biopsy showed that I had a precancerous area. I forget what the medical term was, but it was an area such that if it wasn't taken care of, there was a good chance it would grow into a squamous cell cancer, which is the second level of cancer. There's basal cell, then squamous, then melanoma. So she had 2 courses that I might want to go. One is put a cream on it for a month. The other is to come in and have her remove it with liquid nitrogen, which they use to destroy the cells. So I had my appointment last Wednesday, and when I went in, she said that sometimes when the biopsy is done, it actually ends up removing all the precancerous area, and she took a look and determined that was the case. So I didn't need it frozen, which was good. She had me make an appointment for 4 months for further follow-up and to, do further checking. It was good I got the appointment at 4 months. The only problem is my appointment's not with her, because she's making appointments a year out. So it's with somebody else, and hopefully it's a good relationship. I'll use a booktube term and say hopefully I will vibe with the new doctor too. So that's a few months off, but it was a good result. Negative is I have another doctor in my life now, adding to the ones I already have, but it was inevitable anyways. My mother had regular dermatologist visits, and she had basal cell and other cancerous skin growths removed. So it's in my heredity, and when I was a kid, sunburns were just poo-pod. Probably not nobody, but it wasn't talked about that they could be potentially dangerous to your skin. I would be interested to know how your reading week went. Any books you read you enjoyed. If you'd like to let me know, please add a comment. I hope you have a wonderful reading week. I hope you have a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.